Just don't give up, just keep going. Because your mind will take you to places where your body don't want to go. You can get to a finish line with a broken leg, in pain. You'll get there as long as your mind says, I'm going to get there.
I always waged war on doubt. I always had so many more people doubt me than people that believed in me. So that was what I waged war on. That was mine. I'm like, doubt me and I will prove you wrong.
As long as you can look yourself in the mirror after the fight and go, you know what, you didn't quit then, you didn't give up, and you go, you give everything, you couldn't do anything else, the result doesn't really matter then because you know you give it all. You can go back to the gym, and if your technique's a bit off, you can work on it. If you got swept a few times, you can work on it. If you got outscored on points, you can learn how to score the points. If you quit, you can't teach that. You've either got it or you won't, so don't ever quit, not once, no matter how hard it gets. Do not let that habit ever get into you. Don't ever, because once it's in, it's in.
When you go through like significant trauma in your life, you know, it kind of makes you a little bit crazy. It makes you different than everybody else. And I think you're just crazy enough to go and do these things. Like, you have to be kind of crazy to go run 250 miles, right? Being part of a SEAL team, like, you became a savage, especially in SEAL training. They make you a savage, dude, like just this animal that, man, you're just getting after it. Like there's no like politeness to it, and it's almost like a primal state that you tap into, right? And so when you come back, when you leave that and you get into regular life, you can't be that person anymore. Like, there's no opportunity in your day-to-day life at the office to be a dang savage, you know? But when I go do these races, it's like all of a sudden this leash of civilized life that's around my neck all the time, they snap that leash off of me, and I just get to go primal again, dude. Like, just an animal, dude. So something about that, man, I love that, dude.
You know, when you say you're going to do something, do it. Do it. And when your mind says, you know, you've said this, well, I'm going to do 10 miles, then when you've got an option to give up, it's a weak option when you give up. You can take that giving up option out of the equation, and the option is, I have to finish this. I have to get to that point. Now, whether your fucking feet are blistered, your back is hurting, as you're going to find out, your shoulder feels like one's snapped and the other one's all right, so what? So what? When you get to that finish point, that's when you can address that problem. Let that pain actually drive you on. Think about that pain and don't think about the distance, and then before you know it, you're at the end of the distance. So the mind will take you, it'll take a broken body to a point where, you know, quitting is death.
Yeah.
That's it. That's quitting. Death. Done. That wasn't your choice. That's God's way of telling you you failed.
Yeah.
That ain't happening. Not today, Satan. It is. It's true. It fucking hurts. You know, I ain't gonna say, my missus goes, I'm not running anymore. That's it. You had that choice. You can do it. You just don't want to do it. And that's it. You can fucking do that. But when you want to improve and grow and build resilience, you've got to go. That pain comes with it. That pain is the foundation, the mortar to becoming a better person and achieving better things.
I love that. That's a great quote.
It's true. It's absolutely true, mate. If it's easy, it ain't worth it. It's not a challenge, is it? It's not worth it.
The growth is in the pain. The growth is in the suffering of the task.
And then, you know what? You get to the end, you achieve what you wanted to and more, and you feel great about it. Yes, you're still blistered. Now you can't walk because you're blistered. So what? It's only a passage of time. They'll heal up in no time.
Everybody is facing dark times. So first of all, I do not think it is possible to get born into this world not facing dark times. So already by observing this, it's not the search for removing dark times out of my life, because I think it's not a question of if you can have them or not. You will have them for sure. Now, in order to not get stuck in these dark times, this is now where it comes to, okay, have trust, build yourself up, prepare yourself, and be confident enough that once these dark times comes, you have still an image, a vision why they came to your life. It is to make something about you expand, because nobody likes the darkness. The only thing that can dissipate this darkness is when the light starts to come back. And maybe this is our job. Maybe this is what it's supposed to be. Why it is about, also called enlightenment. Why it is about bringing out the light. Because nobody wants to remain in darkness. Because it's lonely there. But being connected, being seen in a way also, being recognized, knowing that there are others as well, it's a different feeling.
Can't just let your mind run wild, because doubt will always creep in. Doubt will always creep in. You know, especially if you're trying to do something, trying to achieve something, trying to, you know, reach for a height that you've not reached for before. Like, it's natural to have doubt come in, but you can't let that doubt run wild. You know, like I had two ways that I would deal with visualizations with my mind running out of control. So one of them was a very conscious, I'm sitting down and I'm visualizing the fight, and I would have a lot of different tactics. I would be big, I would glow, they would be small and withered and grey looking and weak, and you know, I would have a lot of different ways that I would create the scenario to give me a certain feeling, and then I would play through scenarios where I was beating them. And I was beating them in various different ways that I felt like were part of the game plan. But then every now and then, all of a sudden, in that visualization where you're sitting there and you're like, here I am, I'm winning, all of a sudden then bam, you take a shot and you're down. And like all of a sudden, like your visualization spiraled out of control because anxiety's pushed its way in the door. So then a lot of people, they'll stay in that anxiety and they'll dwell on it. And then it becomes a what if. But what if they hit me? What if they take me down? What if they take my back? Right? What if they get a choke in? What if I'm hurt? What if I'm gassed? You know what I mean? And all these doubts come in, and then this little moment of anxiety and this positive visualization then spirals out of control, and it takes you in a it's like a bad trip, right? You've got to be able to stop that as soon as it happens.
Maximizing on yourself. It's about dealing with your own doubts, fears and anxieties, about letting the positive you defeat the negative you. Because really psychology is a battle of you versus you. We think the opposition's over there in the other dressing room, but actually it's in here. Who am I going to be today? Am I going to be my best self or my weaker self? So a lot of my psychology with teams and athletes and coaches comes down to fighter versus victim. We have a choice. There's a good story. Clint Eastwood was playing golf, and his partner, this last year, his partner said, "Clint, how old are you?" He said, 88. He said, 88 on Monday. And his partner said, "Wow, that's wonderful, what are you doing?" He said, "I'm starting a new movie." He said, "How do you do it?" He said, "I wake up every morning and don't let the old man in." And that's life. We wake up every morning and make a decision who we're going to be. I've got Parkinson's disease, so getting up in the morning is not so easy for me. Getting dressed is not so easy. I have to make a decision. Am I going to be a fighter today, or am I going to be a victim? And that's what fascinates me with sports psychology. And I suppose, in a nutshell, sports psychology is deciding whether you're going to be a fighter or a victim.
I wasn't born just in cricket. I developed it after incidents and yeah, I got into the SES when I was 30, and the Kenya incident happened when I was 43. So all of that was developing up to that point. And this is going out to everyone out there who's 15, 16, 17, 18, 53. Doesn't matter. Life's not over. Don't give up on it. Don't give up on it, because you, like I said, all these like strange routes, it might seem that everything is going so wrong for you, but actually that's what's supposed to happen. But it's when you feel hopeless, and social media definitely does not help. The fact that again, people on social media, they're only showing you what they want you to see, and it's like people who are famous, a lot of actors who are, there's a lot of really famous actors who've been actors all their life, fine, but there's others who had to work and grind and go against their own doubt and do the shitty jobs and the parts they didn't want to play, and then they're in their 40s and now everyone in the world thinks they're the best thing ever, but they don't see all that stuff that took, all that road that led them to that point. So it's kind of easy from where we're saying to say, oh yeah, don't give up, but you just got to try and look and say I've seen too much stuff go on in this world now to make sense of it, and just don't give up. Don't give up on yourself, and just prove them wrong, and they'll make them hate you even more. So you can get some satisfaction out of that. I would, anyway. And then the other thing is, like, when suicide is, I don't just mean suicide by doing whatever it takes to end your life right there and then. It's the thing called death by despair. Don't give up on yourself. Don't say, well, I'm not going to do anything, life's rubbish anyway, I'm just going to go to the pub, going to go to Wetherspoons and just drink my life away today, or I'm going to do drugs. And you might kill yourself tomorrow, you might kill yourself in 3 weeks' time, you might kill yourself in 30 years' time after a lifetime of just destroying your body. It's all the same result. It all comes back to just don't give up on yourself. You've got to go alone, do whatever it takes, and just come back.
It's become slightly difficult today because I think there is some social currency in victimhood. But I think that traps us, because if we're getting rewarded for this state that we don't like, it's very hard for the goal of getting out of that state to be bigger than the social currency that is being given to us because we're in that state. So, I can look at all manner of things that I feel have happened to me. That doesn't help me change them. The only way I can change them is if I look at how I've contributed to them and what I can do about them. So, I don't ever want to think of myself as a victim, because I think at that point there's nothing I can do. And I don't ever want to be in a situation where I feel hopeless or helpless. I want to always figure out ways that I can beat myself. A lot of this for me is working against myself, right? I mean, it's all very personally, what I'm doing to myself has been my biggest problem. So then if I think about it in that way, like I'm a victim to myself, well, how can I win? You know what I mean? It's all me. So it gets very complex thinking about it in those terms, but I just want to always figure out what I'm responsible for, what I can do about it. How do I move forward and become powerful? That's really what I'm looking at.
4 or 5 years ago, I was going through like a challenging breakup. Maybe it was 6 years ago, 4 or 5, 6 years ago, I was going through a challenging breakup. And I remember I was kind of like, it wasn't a good breakup. There was like bad things said about me online, and I was kind of like questioning, like, oh, I thought these guys were my friends and they're talking bad about me, and it was kind of like, why is this happening? I was feeling a lot of overwhelming pressure, sadness, loss, and anger. I was like, why is this happening? And I remember I was interviewing a friend of mine at the time, someone I just met named Robin Sharma, who wrote the book, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. I don't know if you've seen this book or no. Yeah, you've heard of it, yeah. And I'm meeting him for the first time, and this just happened maybe a couple weeks before, and I'm like going through this like, kind of sad moment, and I was like, why is this happening? This is frustrating. And he said to me, a bad day for the ego is a great day for the soul. And I said, that's interesting. And he goes, just think about all the different pain you've had in your past. And he was telling me some of the stuff that he'd been through, and he's like, you know, all these things that happened in your past, from the injury in football to being sexually abused, to my brother going to prison, to not having friends in middle school, and you know, all the different challenges, they all made you a better person today. Like, the things you learned from those challenges has given you the purpose, the drive to care about people deeper, to want to serve people, to want to lift others up. If you didn't go through those experiences, you wouldn't have the heart and the mindset you have now. And something clicked in me in that moment. As he was telling me this, I go, you know what? We need to start connecting the dots forward. Like you said with the Steve Jobs quote, I think we can connect the dots forward. And people always say hindsight is 20/20, but what we need to start doing is having future hindsight and going into the future 10 years to our future self, and start reflecting back on why this is happening now, and start writing the story from the future of the now. If we can see the story, how it unfolded of the past, why can't we go into the future? Why can't you go 10 years into the future when you're 40 and say, you know what? The reason why all these people said that I shouldn't be in the film industry and all these different things, and, you know, saying being a YouTuber and all this stuff, like, here's why it needed to happen this way. And as your 40-year-old self, imagining all the things you've created up until that moment, and the things that that you had to overcome, the lessons it gave you, the skill sets that you have that no one else has, because of the adversity, because of the pain, because of the loss. I'm not saying it's fun. I'm not saying you wish it would happen. I'm not saying you wish it wouldn't have turned out differently. I'm not saying I wish I would have been sexually abused again. I'm not saying I wish my brother went to prison. I'm not saying I wish I was a second grade reading level in 8th grade and was picked on and made fun of. That was not fun. But I do know the person I am today because I chose to be empowered and overcome those things. And I do know that I would not care about human beings as much if I didn't have those adversities. I would not care about impacting lives. I'd be more obsessed with me and wanting to look good. I wouldn't care about what you feel about and how I can serve you. And that has given me more fulfillment today, and will give me more fulfillment the rest of my life, living in service rather than trying to live in success. And without those challenges and adversities, I wouldn't have that belief and that mindset. And I loved the story that I had Matthew McConaughey on twice, and I asked him this question because I loved his acceptance speech from the Oscars, I think it was, when he said, "I'm chasing my hero who's 10 years away." And I asked him this question, I go, what is your 10-year self in the future giving yourself advice on now, knowing all the adversities and ups and downs you're gonna go through for the next 10 years? And he reflected on it, and he was like talking about these experiences. And I think all of us should go into the future and just know that if we can go into the future, we're gonna be much wiser. We're gonna have battle scars, we're gonna have ups and downs, there's gonna be things that happen. When we pursue something meaningful, life happens. And unexpected things happen, both beautiful and challenging. And so if you could go into your future self, knowing what the last 10 years were, and where you are now from 10 years ago, when you were 20, and what you were going through, and all the pain you went through that gave you skills and experience now. As painful as these things happen to you, you may not take some of these things back because of what you've gained from it. You may not want it to happen, and it's very sad, but you also know, I've made something great from the pain, from the adversity, as unfortunate and sad and horrible as some things can be in the world. And I'm not saying life is supposed to be this easy experience, but it can be fulfilling and meaningful if we find the meaning in the pain. And you know, man's search for meaning, Viktor Frankl talks about between stimulus and response is a pause. And it's finding that meaning, that interpretation between events, between experiences, no matter how painful or beautiful they are. How do we find meaning and interpret them so that it benefits us, it doesn't hurt us? And he saw incredible pain. Thousands of people dying around him, family members, friends. And he was able to find peace and harmony and forgiveness. And I'm not saying he wishes it would happen again, but he gained a lot of value from that pain because he created new meaning around it. And I think that's what we got to do, is start connecting the dots in the future to where we are now, as opposed to looking back, and start building our own meaning for that future.
Like, I remember one of the punishments was Mabu, horse stance, and Shifu would shout, "Mabu down," and you would get down into Mabu, and then he would come over and he would put a bow staff across your hips, across your belt line, so you couldn't stand up, and then one across your arms here, so you couldn't drop your arms, and you hear a Mabu, right, and you're there, and there's like 2 or 3 of us because we're messing around or whatever. And I just remember that, because I went out there so determined to prove myself to these monks, because I held them in such high regard. I was not going to let them down and let myself down in their eyes. So there were certain times when I would push myself to a point where I wouldn't have been able to push myself on my own, because they were there and I held them in such high regard, you know. But I remember being in a stance in Mabu, and I remember my leg, I can't even describe the feeling, because it had gone past burning to the point where they felt like they were frozen solid cold. And I didn't know whether I would be able to stand up if I wanted to, but I was there. And I was like, there was a point where like amazement took over, and I'm like, I'm still standing up. I'm still standing up. I'm still standing up. And like the point where I expected myself to just collapse, I was just still there. So it was almost like I was observing myself, like having this realization that, oh, right, okay. It's like you're crossing a bridge and you realize the bridge is stronger than you anticipated. I was the bridge, you know? I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm holding my own weight. And like after that, I got a real boost in self-confidence, not from doing anything technically, but just from having that stubbornness to not physically quit when my body was ready to. Was just that realization that I can go way past what I thought I could. So therefore, I've always just kind of pushed that limit, because like the limit that I thought I had when I went to China, when I got there after 2 weeks, that limit's now gone. I'm like, well, the limit I arrived with, it was a false illusion in my mind. So now I can just keep pushing to where is that limit, you know? And I think that's part of the thing that's always driven me. As a feint, he pulls his right hand to counter, and I come around the side to catch him. And it, like that, for me, that was like, I knew what I wanted to hit, and it still didn't go perfectly, because I still got hit with the right hand that I didn't want to get caught with, that I was well aware of. But it reinforced his confidence in that technique at the same time, which ultimately worked as a benefit to me. Like, and again, I look at that in hindsight and I go, man, like, I can see how that played out. It doesn't mean, but now I've seen how it played out, it means I can now replicate that in another scenario with complete control over it, right? I could take that right hand, knowing full well I'm taking that right hand, and be ready to take it. I can even play possum a little bit, like it's hurt me. You know, you can draw people into these traps all the time in martial arts, and that's a real high level of operating in mixed martial arts that was beyond me when I was competing, and I see it so occasionally now. But when I do see it, it's very, very special.
Did you play into like the pre-fight, like getting into someone's head? You know, for me, one that stands out is Conor and Aldo. You know, that fight. Is that a similar kind of thing, or would you think that was luck based, or is that?
No, that was perfectly set up by Conor. That was, I mean, he was one of the best at it. You know, and that was a good example of how you can play on the psychology of somebody. And you know, the benefit as well of fighting at the level that Conor was at, he could get information on Aldo, on his tells, so he could set him up for a knockout shot. Whereas if I'm showing up to a sports hall and fighting whoever shows up, I might need to spend the first round getting that read off them, right? I might not have the time to invest the time into a psychological game. Or I might be up against someone that just it's not gonna work on, right? Like, I had 2 fights back to back. One was Marcus Davis, and he was a very emotional guy. Still is a very emotional guy. Nothing against him, never did. But I knew that I could get under his skin. And I knew there would be a benefit to getting under his skin, partly because he didn't need to fight me because he was higher up in the rankings. And you know, partly because I knew that fighting him was going to be an opportunity at like a much bigger stage in my career. Like, I was fighting decent guys, but like, I made my UFC debut against Akihiro Gono, who was way better than people knew. So I didn't get the credit for beating him, even though he was a real tough Japanese veteran. You know, and then the next guy was a massive puncher, but I knocked him out in just over a minute. So I didn't, like, that didn't really resonate too much. And I kind of knew that Marcus Davis, he was putting a lot of people away with big power, and I thought he would be a good target. But I also recognized he was very, very emotional. And he was very much invested in his Irish heritage. Even though he was born in the US and, you know, he was the Irish hand grenade and, you know, like everything about him was, he wore a kilt and, like, I mean, he went full, he went all the way down that route of, like, linking himself to Ireland. And this was way before McGregor or anything like this, you know, so a lot of the Irish fans loved him as well.
Well, you might be able to do that right now. You might be able to choose comfort right now, but there's a time coming for all of us where we're going to lose a loved one, we're going to get a bad diagnosis, something's gonna, our business is gonna fail, we're gonna have problems in our marriage, big problems, and ultimately there's coming a time for all of us where we are going to have to go through the process of dying, which is like the final finish line. I want to die well. Like, when I die, I want to die well, if I get the opportunity to, you know. So the importance of doing hard things is because don't lie to yourself. Life is going to get hard for you. If it hasn't yet, it's coming. Something is about to blindside you. We do these hard things intentionally so that we are prepared to make the right decisions in that moment, to be the person who we're called to be in that moment, to set the example for everyone around us in real life who's watching us and how we react to this hard thing, to set the example in that moment by making the right decisions. You will not make the right decision in that real life moment, that real life catastrophe. You will not make the right decision in that moment if you have not prepared for that moment, and you don't get to try again. There's no redos. That's why we train. It's intentional repetition so that we are making the proper response to adversity our default reaction, so that when it happens in real life, you don't even have to think about how you're going to respond to it. You just respond to it in the way you've been training to respond for hundreds of thousands of reps and thousands of hours. I've trained for this one moment when somebody I love gets sick. When I get sick, when I'm laying on my deathbed and I'm surrounded by my loved ones, but I'm prepared for that. I'm prepared to endure that discomfort. I'm training for those moments, you know. I mean, that's really the foundation of it all, really.
It's like you just keep going and keep trying and trying to get a push-up, knowing that you're not going to, but you're not gonna stop. That's it. Because that's what they want to see on a battlefield. I'm not leaving my boy behind, I'm taking it. I'm finishing this fight until I can't anymore. That same stuff goes in our family life, work, business, children. It's all the same stuff. It just looks different.
People think that somebody's going to come and rescue them. And I honestly think that people have this mindset of, it's okay, you know, someone will come and save me soon. And, you know, it's not this actual saying, it's just this thought process. Because a lot of people go, yeah, well, you know, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it next year. Oh, that's the focus next year. It's the whole resolution thing and everything. It's like, look, and a lot of people said this, there's no one coming. There's no one that's gonna hit that snooze on the alarm. There's no one that's gonna get your ass to the gym.
The path that you're gonna lead is gonna be a lonely path. not just physically, but actually mentally, it can be very lonely. When you have something in your head, when you have that route that you're trying to go down, you've got to see things that aren't actually there. And people won't be able to see it apart from you. Even loved ones, people that want the best for you, in their interest, that could be you not achieving that goal, because they fear they're going to lose you, or they fear that you might get hurt. And it could also be haters, because they can't achieve what you're trying to achieve, so they're like, how can this guy achieve it? And I think that when you go down that path, if you think of it like actually like a path, there's going to be ups and downs, there's going to be corners that you don't quite see, and there's going to be people along that path saying, don't keep going, or you can't keep going. And I think that if you have that, at the end, if you have that goal, or that path that you still want to keep going down, don't stop. Because at the end of the day, it's going to be you going down that path, no one else. And you have one life, so why not go down it? Hope you guys enjoyed this video. William, my brother, made this video. At the good old days, we're back making motivational videos. And a lot of people in the comment section keep saying that where are these certain speakers from, or they'll say what their names are. They're all from the Mulligan Brothers Interviews YouTube channel that's run by my brother Jordan. So if you like any of the speakers, any of the interviews that we use, just go on the Mulligan Brothers interview page, and any one of the people will be on that page. Watch them, share them. Our mission is to inspire change, and everything we're trying to do is to help people. If you want to watch documentaries about the people in these specific videos, like DJ Shipley, we've got Tom Satterley, we've got like loads of military people, loads of spiritual people. If you like any of these people, they pretty much all we've made a documentary on the Mulligan Brothers main page where we make documentaries. Check them out. And then make sure to follow William Mulligan, my other brother who made this video. If you're interested in Stoicism, check him out. I really like the ideas that he puts out there. He's sort of bridging the gap between this like sort of complex or sort of like not scary, but like sort of unattainable idea of being stoic, I think, that I see. And he's sort of making it applicable to the everyday man or woman. So make sure you check him out. He's also written a book, The Everyday Stoic, so go search for that. Guys, please go for your dreams. You will do it. You'll get there, trust me. It might just take longer than you think, but you will get there. My brother Jordan has also been using a company called Marek Health, which is all about optimizing your health. He's had great results from them. So if you guys are interested in optimizing your health, check the link in the description, see if you like them. Thank you for watching. Inspire change.